Okay, good morning, students. Today we'll see about the anatomy of the heart. Okay, in detail, we'll discuss regarding this anatomy. Okay, see, as first we'll go. Okay, about the location of the heart. Okay, where exactly the heart is going to be present. Clear. First, we'll see the location of the heart. Clear. And if you see the heart, okay, roughly, okay, which is a size of a closed fist. Clear. How the size, which will be size of a closed fist. And if you see the long, okay, the length of the heart, which will be around 12 centimeters long, okay, and 5 centimeters wide, okay, and 6 centimeters thick. Clear. And if you see the weight of this heart, which will be around 250 grams in case of female adults and 300 grams in case of adult males. Clear. See, and mainly if you see, this heart is going to be rests on the diaphragm. Clear. And near the midline of the thoracic cavity. Okay, near the midline of thoracic cavity. Clear. And mainly it lies in the one area, you will call it as mediastinum. Okay, this you remember, the heart is going to be lies in the mediastinum. Okay, see this mediastinum, okay, which is nothing but which is a mass of tissue, okay, that's going to be extends from the sternum to the vertebral column. Okay, that means between the lungs. Okay, that space you will call it as the mediastinum. Okay, what is this mediastinum? Which is a mass of tissue that extends from the sternum to the vertebral column and between the lungs. Okay, that you will call it as a mediastinum, and in that the heart is going to be present. Okay, and the pointed apex, if you see the heart having two parts, that is pointed apex, okay, that is going to be directed towards the left side, and the broad base, okay, the broad base that is going to be directed towards the right side. Okay, see this about the location of the heart. If you see, if you see the size of this heart, how it will be, which will be a size of a closed fist. Clear. And if you see the length of this heart, which will be 12 centimeters long, and the wide is 5 centimeters, and the thickness, if you see, it's 6 centimeters, and the weight of this heart in case of females, which will be around 250 grams and 300 grams in case of the males, right? And mainly if you see, it lies in the mediastinum. Okay, that means which is a mass of the tissue that extends from the sternum to the vertebral column and between the lungs. Clear. See, and mainly it rests on the diaphragm that is near the midline of the thoracic cavity. Okay, and if you see the pointed apex, okay, that is going to be directed towards the left side, and the broad base is going to be directed towards the right side. Okay, see this about the location of the heart. Okay, next we'll see what are the different layers of the heart. Okay, we'll see the different layers of the heart. See, generally the membrane, okay, one of the membrane, okay, that surrounds and protects the heart. Clear? See that you will call it as pericardium. Okay, the layer that is surrounding and protecting the heart, you will call it as a pericardium. And this pericardium has two parts, you will call it as, okay, the two parts of this pericardium, you will call it as fibrous pericardium, and next one is serous pericardium. Okay, the membrane that surrounds and protects the heart is known as pericardium, and this pericardium having two parts, we will call it as fibrous pericardium, and next one is the serous pericardium. Okay, first we'll see what is this fibrous pericardium. Okay, this fibrous pericardium is a superficial layer, clear, and it is composed of tough, inelastic, dense, irregular connective tissue. Okay, mainly it composed of tough, okay, inelastic, okay, dense, irregular connective tissue. Okay, and if you see this fibrous pericardium, which will be resembling like a bag, okay, and it will be attached to the diaphragm. Clear? And next one is this fibrous pericardium mainly prevents, that is, overstretching. Okay, the overstretching of the heart is going to be prevented with the help of this fibrous pericardium. Okay, next we'll see about the serous pericardium. Okay, this is the deeper layer, the serous pericardium, which is a deepest layer, and if you see, and it is very thinner, and it is very delicate, okay, when compared to this fibrous pericardium. Okay, and it forms a double layer. See, again, if you see, which will be forming a double layer, see, that is outer parietal and inner visceral. Okay, outer parietal and inner visceral layers. Clear? And if you see this serous pericardium, which is a deeper layer, and it is very thinner and it is very delicate when compared to the fibrous pericardium. And if you see this serous pericardium, okay, which is a double layer again, that is outer parietal and inner visceral. Okay, see, and if you see this outer parietal, that is going to be fused with this fibrous pericardium, and this inner visceral, you will also call it as epicardium. Okay, see, this inner visceral, you will also call it as a epicardium, and in between these two layers, okay, you are having a thin film of serous fluid. Okay, we are having very thin film of serous fluid. Okay, this fluid, you will call it as a pericardial fluid. Okay, what is this fluid? You will call it as a pericardial fluid, and this pericardial fluid that will be present in the pericardial cavity. Okay, it is present in the pericardial cavity, and this fluid that will be useful to reduce the friction. Okay, that means reduce the friction between the layers. Clear? So this is about the first layer, if you see, regarding the pericardium. Okay, what is this pericardium? Which a membrane that surrounds and protects the heart, you will call it as a pericardium. Okay, this pericardium having two layers, that is fibrous pericardium and the serous pericardium. And if you see this fibrous pericardium, which is a superficial layer, okay, and which is tough, inelastic, and which is a dense irregular connective tissue and which resembles a bag-like structure and which is going to be attaches to the diaphragm. Clear? And this mainly prevents the overstretching of the heart. Next one is, if you see the serous pericardium, that is a deeper layer and that is thinner and it is very delicate when compared to the fibrous pericardium. Okay, and it's also a double layer, that means outer parietal and the inner visceral. Inner visceral you will also call it as an epicardium, and this outer parietal is going to be fused with this fibrous pericardium. Okay, and in between these two you are having a thin film of the serous fluid that you will call it as a pericardial fluid. Okay, this pericardial fluid are present in the pericardial cavity, and mainly the function of this pericardial fluid is it is going to be reduces the friction between the layers. Okay, see, generally this is about the pericardium. See, apart from this pericardium, generally if you see the heart walls consisting of 3 layers. Okay, we'll see about what are those 3 layers, about the heart walls that is going to be composed of. Okay, see, generally the heart walls is composed of 3 layers. See, that is, the first one is epicardium. Okay, see, that is the external layer of the heart. And next one is you are having myocardium. It is the middle layer of the heart, and you are also having endocardium. See, that is the inner layer of the heart. Clear? See, already we had seen about the epicardium, that is inner visceral peritoneum. Okay, that you will also call it as an epicardium, right? Okay, next we'll see the myocardium. If you see this myocardium, you will also call it as a cardiac muscle tissue. Okay, it is a cardiac muscle tissue. And if you see this myocardium, which will be forming a bulk of the heart. Okay, see, what is meant by a bulk of the heart? See, that means most of the heart is made up of only this myocardium, and it is responsible for pumping action. Okay, it is responsible for mainly the pumping action. And next we'll see endocardium. If you see this endocardium, it provides the smooth lining. Okay, mainly this will be providing the smooth lining for the chambers of the heart, and which can also cover the valves of the heart. Okay, see this about the different layers of the heart. Clear? First we had seen about pericardium, and next, apart from that pericardium, okay, the heart walls, if you see, which will be made up of mainly the 3 layers, that is epicardium, myocardium, and the endocardium. Okay, epicardium, it is the external layer, and myocardium is the middle layer, and endocardium is the inner layer. Clear? And if you see this myocardium, you will call it as a cardiac muscle tissue, and which will be forming a bulk of the heart. Okay, bulk of the heart means what I'm saying here, that means most of the heart is made up of only this kind of myocardium, and this myocardium that will be useful for the pumping action. Clear? And next one is the endocardium. If you see, it provides the smooth lining for the chambers of the heart, and which can also covers the valves of the heart. Okay, see, that's all, students, about the different layers of the heart. Okay, and next we'll go on to the different chambers of the heart. I think you all are familiar of these different chambers of the heart. Okay, but we'll see about these chambers. See, generally the heart is having the 4 chambers, right? Having 2 superior chambers and the 2 inferior chambers, right? See, and generally if you see Okay, you're having two superior chambers and two inferior chambers, right? Two superior chambers, you will call it as atria, and two inferior chambers, you will call it as ventricles. Clear? See, don't get confused. Atria is different from auricles. Okay, some of you have mentioned the auricles, but okay, atria is different from the auricles. Okay, I will tell you what is meant by an auricle also. See here, if you see the chambers having four different chambers, that is two superior chambers. See, that means this one and this you will call it as an atria. Clear? See, that means this is right atria and this is left atria. This is right ventricle and this is left ventricle. Clear? You are having two superior chambers, that is atria, and the two inferior chambers you will call it as a ventricles. Clear? See the anterior surface of each atria. Okay, and if you see regarding the anterior surface of each atria having pouch like structures, okay, that you will call it as a auricles. Clear? See this what I am telling, auricle is different and atria is different. Okay, atria means which is a chamber, you will call it as an atria, but in that atria, the anterior surface which is having a pouch like structures, that you will call it as a auricles. Clear? And not only that, the surface of the heart, okay, which is having a series of grooves. Okay, the surface of the heart which is having a series of grooves, that you will call it as a sulci. Okay, these important terminologies, just you underline it. Okay, so this is a general, okay, about these chambers. If you see having four chambers, that is two superior chambers, that is atria, and two inferior chambers, you will call it as the ventricles, and the anterior surface, okay, of each atria having a pouch like structures, that you will call it as a auricles. Clear? The next one is which is having a series of grooves. Okay, the surface of the heart which is having the series of grooves, you will call it as a sulci. Okay, we'll discuss one by one about the different chambers of this heart. Okay, first we'll see about the right atrium. Okay, we'll see what is this right atrium. Clear? See, generally if you see this right atrium, which will be receiving blood from three different veins. Okay, see from where this right atrium is going to be getting the blood, that is mainly from three different veins. Okay, see for your understanding, I am drawing the picture like this. Okay, this right atrium which will be receiving the blood from three different veins. See, the first one is superior vena cava. Okay, next one is inferior vena cava. The next one is coronary sinus. Okay, these are the three different veins from which this right atrium is going to be receiving the blood. Okay, see, and if you see this right atrium, that is the posterior wall is very smooth, and next if you see the anterior wall is very rough. Okay, the anterior wall is rough. Okay, why it is rough, the anterior wall? Because of the presence of the muscular ridges, that you will call it as a pectinate muscles. Okay, that you will call it as pectinate muscles. See, that means because of the presence of these pectinate muscles, the anterior wall is very rough. Clear? And next one is between this right and left atrium, you're having a thin partition. Okay, that you will call it as interatrial septum. Clear? See, this thin partition, okay, between this right atrium and the left atrium. Okay, this you will call it as a interatrial septum. Okay, what is this interatrial septum? That is a thin partition between this right atrium and the left atrium. You will call it as interatrial septum. Okay, and this interatrial septum, which is having an oval depression, okay, that you will call it as fossa ovalis. Okay, this interatrial septum, which is having an oval depression, that we will call it as fossa ovalis, and which is a remnant of the foramen ovale. Clear? And next one is this right atrium, okay, sending the blood to the right ventricle through a valve. You will call it as a tricuspid wall. Okay, here the valve you will call it as a tricuspid valve. Okay, see why it got the name as a tricuspid valve, because which is having the three cusps. Okay, this valve you will call it as a tricuspid valve. Okay, from the right atrium, the blood is going to be enters into the right ventricle with the help of one valve. This you will call it as a tricuspid valve. Okay, or you will also call it as right atrioventricular valve. Okay, this we will also call it as right atrioventricular valve. Okay, so this is about the right atrium. Okay, see this right atrium that is going to be receiving the blood from the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, and the coronary sinus. The next one is, if you see, the posterior wall is very smooth and the anterior wall is very rough because of the presence of the pectinate muscles. And okay, the right atrium and the left atrium is going to be separated with the help of a thin partition that we will call it as interatrial septum. And this interatrial septum, which is having an oval depression, called it as fossa ovalis, which is a remnant of the foramen ovale. Okay, and the blood from the right atrium enters into the right ventricle with the help of the tricuspid valve. We will also call it as a right atrioventricular valve. Okay, next we'll see about the right ventricle. And if you see this right ventricle, okay, see inside this right ventricle contains a series of ridges, okay, consisting of series of ridges that you will call it as trabeculae corneae. Trabeculae corneae. See, I will tell you what is this series of ridges. Okay, see that means here, which is having like this series of ridges inside this ventricle. Okay, that you will call it as a trabeculae corneae. And if you see the cusps of the tricuspid valve, clear, see from this, the cusps of this tricuspid valve, okay, that is connected to chorda tendineae, okay, which will be connected to here this thread-like structures, which will be connected to thread-like structures. This we will call it as a chorda tendineae. Okay, that is cusps of tricuspid valve. Okay, that is going to be connected to what? That is chorda tendineae. Okay, see, which in turn this is connected to cone-shaped trabeculae corneae, this cone-shaped trabecular corneae, you will call it as a papillary muscles. See, generally these ridges, you will call it as a trabecular cornea, but in that, if anything that is in cone shaped, okay, that cone shaped trabecular cornea, you will call it as a papillary muscles. See, that means if you see here the cusps of this tricuspid valve, okay, which will be connected to this, okay, thread-like structures that you will call it as a chorda tendineae, and this chorda tendineae will be connected to this cone-shaped trabeculae that you will call it as a papillary muscles. Clear? And this right ventricle and the left ventricle is going to be separated by a thin film. You will call it as interventricular septum. Okay, see this right ventricle and the left ventricle. These two are going to be separated with the help of a thin partition. You will call it as interventricular septum. Okay, see here from this right ventricle, okay, the blood is going to be passed into the pulmonary trunk. Okay, here you are having this pulmonary trunk. The blood from the right ventricle enters into this pulmonary trunk. Okay, and this pulmonary trunk will be divided into right and left pulmonary arteries. Okay, which will be divided into right and left pulmonary arteries. Okay, this is about the right ventricle. Okay, see what is this right ventricle? Okay, inside this right ventricle, you are having series of ridges. We will call it as trabecular cornea. Okay, this ridges we will call it as a trabecular cornea. And okay, whatever this tricuspid valve which will be present, okay, that will be connected to the thread-like structures, we will call it as chorda tendineae, and which in turn connected to the cone-shaped trabecular cornea that you will call it as a papillary muscles. Clear? And in between right ventricle and left ventricle, you are having a thin partition that you will call it as interventricular septum. And from the right ventricle, the blood will be enters into this pulmonary trunk. Okay, and here you are having one valve. Okay, here you are having this valve, we will call it as a pulmonary valve. Okay, the blood from the right ventricles enters into the pulmonary trunk with the help of this pulmonary valve. Okay, and this pulmonary trunk, if you see, which will be divided into right and left pulmonary arteries. Okay, which will be sending blood to the lungs for the purification. Clear? And okay, this is all about the right ventricle. Okay, next we'll see about the left atria. Okay, left atria. And this left atria, okay, which forms the most of the base, okay, which will be forming most of the base. Okay, this part is base and this part is the apex. Clear? See, most of the base which will be formed by this left atria, okay, and which will be receive blood from the pulmonary veins. Okay, mainly which will be receiving blood from 4 pulmonary veins. Okay, from where which will be receiving blood from 4 different veins. Okay, this left atria is going to be receiving blood from the 4 different veins. That 4 are also, you will call it as a pulmonary veins. Clear? See here in this case, left atria, both the posterior surface and the anterior surface, if you see, these both are smooth. See, but which is not the case in case of right atrium. The posterior is only smooth and the anterior surface is rough, right? But here, if you see, the both the surfaces will be very smooth. Okay, and next one is this left atrium, okay, which will be sending blood to the left ventricle with the help of one valve. You will call it as a bicuspid valve. Clear? See, that means here you're having a bicuspid valve. Okay, left atrium, the blood will be sending to the left ventricle with the help of this valve. You will call it as a bicuspid valve. Okay, see this bicuspid valve, you will also call it as a mitral valve, and you will also known it as left atrioventricular valve. Left atrioventricular valve. Okay, so this is about the left atrium. Okay, what is this left atrium? Which will be forming the most of the base of the heart, which will be receiving blood from the 4 different veins. Okay, that is the pulmonary veins, and in this case both the posterior and anterior surfaces will be the smooth. Okay, the left atrium, which will be sending blood to the left ventricle with the help of one valve, we will call it as a bicuspid valve. We will also know it as a mitral valve or the left atrioventricular valve. Okay, next we'll see about the left ventricle. Okay, left ventricle. See, which will be forms the apex of the heart. Okay, most of the apex of the heart, formed by this left ventricle. Okay, and which is also having, that is the trabeculae corneae, chorda tendineae, and the papillary muscles, as we had seen in case of the right ventricles. Okay, the same will be present in case of this left ventricle also. Clear? See, and here, okay, from the left ventricle, okay, which will be sending blood to the ascending aorta, okay, which will be sending blood to ascending aorta through a valve. You will call it as a aortic valve. Okay, here you remember the different types of valves. Okay, here you are having another valve that you will call it as an aortic valve. Okay, from the left ventricle, the blood will be enters into this ascending aorta with the help of this aortic valve. Okay, from this aortic valve, the blood is going to be distributed throughout the body. Okay, see, this is about the different chambers of the heart. Okay, okay, students, and the remaining anatomy, okay, we are going to discuss in the next class.